Russell, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Headline earnings per share up 8%. That's for the half year. Would you say that you are satisfied with this set of results in the current environment?
In the current environment, yes. I guess they could always be better. They could be better if the markets were even more active. They could be better if we had more of our securities on central order books. They could be better if we didn't have outages again like we had a few weeks ago, where we were down for 6 hours in one particular day. But after all that, Bronwyn, in still very tricky global economic conditions, I think we've got to be satisfied with what we've seen.
Russell, where are we with those technical problems? Is it a result of your upgrading of the back office systems that is resulting in the downtime that we've seen in trading?
No, it's got nothing to do with that at all, Bronwyn. It's got everything to do with the links between the London Stock Exchange and Johannesburg. And those are handled by service providers. The service providers have got to the bottom of that particular day's problem. That's an engineering issue, and our service providers have assured us that those problems will not reoccur.
We've seen the momentum in new listings picking up. 6 new listings in the first half of 2010, 5 of those being on the main board and 1 on Altex. What are the prospects for the second half of 2010? Is that momentum where listings or new listings are concerned continuing to build?
Bronwyn, I wouldn't exactly call it momentum. You know, this is almost limping along. We're very grateful for those 6 listings. The pipeline is healthy and it's full, but the pipeline has to translate into actual listings. Individuals make those decisions, boards make those decisions, and they'll only make those decisions if they're starting to feel good about things, if they're starting to feel more confident that things have changed. Now, I don't believe that the world's economic problems are over. They're not. The big imbalances are still there, and big imbalances take time to be chipped away at and to be dealt with. So I don't expect there to be a sudden plethora of IPOs in this half of the year. If we could repeat the first half year's performance, I'd be delighted. And, you know, and that applies to the entire world when it comes to IPOs.
Just focusing on your Africa strategy for a moment, Russell, you have recently welcomed the second Africa board listing, and that in the form of Wilderness Safaris. You are encouraging companies that are domiciled outside of South Africa to take a secondary listing on the JSE. What are the merits of taking that secondary listing? Would you not just be incurring additional costs which may not be necessary?
Well, additional service normally equals additional costs. And that's what everybody has to weigh up. Do those additional services and improved services outweigh the additional costs? Now, we know, Bronwyn, that we can offer an absolutely world-class service. We're the only African exchange that can offer a world-class service at the moment. And that's without being arrogant about the situation. We've spent more than R1 billion. In fact, we've spent close to 2 billion rand over the last 15 years improving our service offering. No other African exchange can say that. So now that we can offer, and this is for the last 5 years, a world-class service, it's stupid not to offer that service to more issuers. And that's what we are doing by offering this world-class service to African issuers.
Russell, you're saying that the world's woes may not necessarily be over. What is the demand for equity derivatives in that somewhat fragile environment?
Yes, well, derivatives play a vital role if they are used correctly. As we've also seen in South Africa and on the JSE, derivatives can sometimes, the best instruments can be used in a stupid way. And we are no exception to that in South Africa. So derivatives per se, and not all derivatives, you and I both know what happened with the GFC in 2008 with particular derivatives. The derivatives we are offering are things that correctly used and sensibly used play a valuable role in most people's lives. Despite that, when things are uncertain as they are at the moment, and uncertainty not always accompanied by volatility, then derivative activity is sometimes subdued.
Russell,
but we are seeing, sorry?
No, continue with the equity side, the equity derivatives.
Yeah, so despite this almost anomalous situation of huge uncertainty but low volatility, we are seeing good, healthy derivative activity at the moment. And frankly, that's what we prefer.
If you were to choose a phrase to describe your outlook for the second half, briefly,
yes.
what would that be?
Well, I think it'll be the same as what I was asked in the beginning of the year. And normally I don't pronounce on what markets will do, because I don't think that's appropriate. But just looking at the global situation in the beginning of the year, I said it's uncertain, these huge imbalances, that's a problem. And I said that the world is naturally going to look for good news and will probably trade up, and then reality will set in and it will trade down. And I said in the beginning of the year, don't be surprised if we end the year flat. Well, that's exactly where we are at the moment, and we at the 16th of August.